Neo Geo Pocket Color. Would you guys look at this? So here's the deal. In late 1998, SNK decided to make a handheld system, and they made the Neo Geo Pocket. It's a black and white 16-bit handheld system. Now around the same time the Game Boy Color came out, and quite frankly, in late 1998, what the hell were you thinking releasing a black and white handheld? That's just ridiculous. And apparently everybody else thought so, and SNK kind of ditched it and released the Neo Geo Pocket Color the following year. So we're talking late 1999, the Neo Geo Pocket came out. More specifically, it came out in March 1999 in Japan. Of course, it came out in Japan first. Took a little while to get to the States. It came out in, I believe, it was August of 1999 in the US. System sold for $69.95 when it came out in the US. It launched with 6 games, and it launched with 6 different colors. I'll show you the colors here. The system didn't last very long. Like most systems in Japan that don't do very well over here, it was a little bit more popular in Japan. But there was also some legal issues. Apparently SNK got bought out in 2000, and that's the same time the Neo Geo Pocket was cancelled. So it actually was only around for a year. As you can see, I have some games here, and even the boxes for the games are pretty cool, because, well, from the outside it appears to be a standard box, but it actually opens from the front, and you got your book in the one side and the cartridge in the other. So that's pretty cool. Take a look at the system itself. I've got 2 of the colors here. This one they call anthracite. It's basically, I call it the carbon fiber one. Has kind of a carbon fiber wannabe look to it. It actually looks really cool. I prefer this one. It's probably my favorite out of all of them. And then I also have this one here. This is the ocean blue one. It actually kind of looks like a camouflage, like a navy blue camouflage. That's pretty cool looking. Take a look at the box. Very nice little box. Shows, of course, some of the games on the back. Brief description of the system. Keep in mind that this came out in 1999, and really the Game Boy Advance did not come out until 2001. So this was in no way competing with the Game Boy Advance. This was competing with the Game Boy Color. Okay, this is a 16-bit system. It's powered by a Toshiba 16-bit processor running at about 6 megahertz. And it's got a Z80, the 8-bit Z80 processor that's what's in the Sega Master System. There's also one in the Genesis doing the sound. That's doing the sound in this as well. Also, the Game Boy was powered by a Z80. Very popular 8-bit processor, like I said before. So that runs at about 3 megahertz, basically just as the sound. It's not a backlit screen. It's a reflective TFT screen, just like the Game Boy Color or the original Game Boy Advance. It could display 146 colors on screen at a time, out of a palette of, let's see, it's 4,000 something or other. I wrote it down here somewhere. 4,096 total color palette. The cartridges go on the top, and the cartridges themselves could hold up to 4 megabytes, which is 32 megabits. Which for a handheld for the time is probably pretty good. I'm not sure exactly what the Game Boy Color was capable of, but I'd have to say it was competitive, if not actually maybe a little more advanced there. Looking at the system itself, I'm going to look at the blue one just because it's probably a little easier to pick up some of the ports. There's an expansion port, or an extension port on the top, and that's for the link cable. That's the link cable there. just like the Game Boys, to link up multiple units for multiplayer. In Japan, they did release a wireless kit, so you could hook that up and you could play with other Neo Geo Pocket Colors in the vicinity. It was kind of like think of it like an early Wi-Fi kind of setup. So that's pretty cool. On the bottom, you've got your your volume knob, your headphone jack, and the AC power for an adapter, which I have there. There's the SNK Neo Geo Pocket AC adapter. The system itself, on the front, you have a power button, and it is a button, not a switch. You got to hold it down for a few seconds for it to turn on. You got an option button, a B and an A. It's not Nintendo style. It's actually A and B in order. And instead of a D-pad, it has kind of like a little nub thing. It's not analog. It is digital. You can feel it click. It's very clicky. And it's comfortable. It's very, very comfortable, as the system is overall. But that's a little bit awkward, especially with some of the side-scrolling games. But I would have to imagine, I'm not a big fighting game fan. I would have to imagine that's really good for fighting games, especially doing like some of the the half circle style moves. I would imagine that works very good. And being an SNK system, we all know SNK is mainly known for their fighting games. I think that's why they went with that. I think that would be good for the fighting games, the SNK style fighting games. But for some of the platform games, it's a little bit awkward. But overall, very comfortable system. I like the wide systems. I liked the original Game Boy Advance, and this is similar in that it's wide and it's not tall, so your hands are a little further apart, and it's got a spot in the back kind of where your fingers can go into. Very comfortable system. Taking a look at the back itself, we have, of course, the cartridge slot, which I showed. You got the battery cover here. System runs off 2 AA batteries. They claim 40 hours off 2 AA batteries. I haven't put that to the test, but either way, you're going to get a really good battery life out of 2 AA's, because the screen's not backlit, like I said. Here we have a battery cover for actually a lithium style watch battery. It's a CR3022 or whatever that standard motherboard battery is, standard kind of watch battery. Same batteries that the Dreamcast VMU takes, and pretty much anything that takes a watch battery electronics wise. The reason that this takes a watch battery is because this has a real-time clock with a calendar feature. There's some settings in the system that you can save. When you turn the system on without a game, I'll show you that. It does have its own built-in menu system, and there are some settings in there that you can save along with the calendar kind of features. So that's why it has the little watch battery. It'll remember the time and date even if you take the AA's out to change to AA's. So that's a little different, a little unique for the time. I've got the batteries in this one, so we'll move over to this one now.